All right, so one of the biggest mistakes that investors make is confusing market data with market noise. Right now, the housing headlines are really noisy, but the actual data tells a different story. What we're looking at right now is a market intelligence report. This is essentially a newsletter that we format for our partners, and it's based on the Federal Housing and Finance Agency data for the fourth quarter of 2025. And right now, what we're seeing is that after tracking tens of millions of transactions across the country, this is remarkable. So, what we're seeing now is that this is the 53rd consecutive quarter of annual home price appreciation. What this means is that the U.S. housing market has produced 14 straight years of positive price growth. Now, that's the longest sustained appreciation cycle in modern housing history. That growth obviously has slowed. The national home price rose about 1.8% year over year in 2025. But this is exactly what a healthy market looks like after the pandemic boom. So we've moved from speculative acceleration to more of a disciplined normalization. And historically, that's the phase when most investors, the smart investors, start repositioning. So the real story in the data isn't the national average, though. I'm going to scroll here because it really boils down to regional divergence. So right now, the Midwest and the Mid-Atlantic regions are outperforming the national average here by roughly 3 to 4 times. And at the same time, several Sun Belt markets that were overheated during the pandemic cycle, they're going through a correction phase. But I want to reemphasize this is not a crash. What this is, when you zoom out, this is capital rotating to stronger markets. And so the long-term story becomes even more clear. So since 1991, the National Housing Index has risen more than 330%. That means that a $100,000 house, just for an example, 3 decades ago would have been worth roughly $430,000 today. And that's even before leverage or rental income. And that's why real estate continues to be one of the most consistent wealth creation assets that are available. Let's talk about the takeaway. It's transitioning into a more selective phase of the cycle. And the investors who win in this environment are going to be the ones who understand market cycles, geographic positioning, and long-term capital deployment, which is exactly the data-driven approach that we take at the Wealth Investors Network. Not speculating where the market is heading or trying to time it, but actually reading the information that is guiding the decisions for where we decide to deploy capital. So if you have any questions, comments, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If there's a particular question that you have, I'm always open to engaging in thoughtful interaction with colleagues and anyone that's generally interested in learning more about real estate. So send me a DM if you'd like a copy of this report. This is from the fourth quarter of 2025 from the Federal Housing and Finance Agency. Of course, it's been extracted and refined to produce a nice visual newsletter for our partners, and I'd be more than happy to send that over upon request. So again, take care. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks.